Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Drop In, Drop Out podcast, a show where a mix of 7 gamers get together to discuss everything going on in video games. However, today we're talking about a real hyper-focused subject. And I usually would say, here's our guest, Jerica, and here's our guest, Kayla, and I will shortly, but I wanted to surprise you two and tell you both why I'm individually so excited to do this show in particular with both of you. So our show format is our favorite movie-based games or TV show-based games, not our favorite movies based on TV shows, the other way around. And I was thinking about it, and I was like, ooh, I've got a lot in common with these two. Jerica, you and I align all the time on like weird, kind of more like obscure TV shows, and Kayla, we align all the time on really obscure and wacky games. So I'm very excited to see how this all matches up. I think the topic's going to be awesome. Jerica, how are you doing today?
I'm good. Not as gassy as yesterday. I just ate so much before we started racing.
What'd you eat?
I'm glad there was 12 people in that room because you would have heard, you just heard the cars, brum. What's the car sound? Brum? Vroom,
rumbling. Vroom,
instead of my toots.
Vroom vroom.
Right.
So yeah,
Very good.
I'm
Jerica's,
great.
of course, referring to last night's Drop In, Drop Out Invitational, the Forza Horizon 6 Invitational, which if you missed it live, you're out of luck for now until we post the VOD, which I think you will enjoy. It was us and a bunch of other content creators and streamers in the Dido sphere playing some games and having a blast and having some good conversations. It was a really, really fun time. And I will spoil the outcome for you now. I fucking won.
He did win. Jerica, you didn't
Really?
see it, but he won. Yep. He pulled it
Okay,
out.
we got some witnesses here. Okay, because
We did.
I was a little, the first race, I was interested to see and Jake's like, I just feel like Jake is just a racing guy, just always racing in games. That's all you do, right? Just race around.
Mostly.
Doesn't matter
Yeah.
what game. And to see you trailing behind me made me feel better as a racer.
Yeah.
But then maybe you're just being nice.
He was bluffing.
I had a
here.
really tough start.
A tough start.
It was
Okay.
fucking claw back to the top throughout the evening. It was the nerves, perhaps. And you've
Oh,
already
she's a
heard her
little
voice. Kayla, welcome in. How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing great. I knew I wasn't going to do well last night in the Invitational, but I also knew that I got to talk with my friends today about video games, and that was enough to keep me going through it. And of course, all the lovely folks that are in the chat that were there with us too. Dan Goodshow got a close second. I think you only beat him by like 3 or 4 points.
I think 3 points.
Damn,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
It was in
so
first.
It was really close.
I was climbing up on Dan for a minute. Ooh,
Yeah.
Pause.
Oh,
What?
that was all. Okay,
That's
that
a
was
little
good
innuendo.
stuff.
Right.
It was cool to see, shout out to Dan. I didn't realize also someone that just races all the time, apparently. Big racer.
Yeah.
Apparently not.
Okay.
Just like a streak of luck and natural talent, apparently.
Just
Yeah,
picking
'cause
it
he
up.
won.
Well, it's
'Cause
time
he
to
won
be
the
a
Mario Kart
NASCAR
one.
racer because I don't think people can just pick up the controller and win that many races.
I agree.
don't know.
There's something happened there. Was very impressive. If you're joining us today, whether you are listening on audio forms or you're live in chat or watching the YouTube, consider finding us somewhere else. We're Drop In, Drop Out Pod all across the internet. I am here with Jerica and Kayla, who of course make up 2/3 of JK Games, which airs on Mondays. If you want to hear them talk about mixtape this coming week, is that correct?
Yes.
Perhaps a special guest. Who can tell? You got to tune in and find out. And then Tuesdays, you can catch the Spotlight Games right here. Spotlight Games podcast right here on twitch.tv/dropin-dropout-pod. Thursday night, you're already in the right place. I'm doing stuff around the internet. Cog's doing stuff around the internet. It's a whole scene over there. Let's get into our main topic. Now, this was a fortunate situation because we had already planned, I would say 3 weeks. 3 weeks ago, we planned this topic. And then just yesterday, Warhorse Studios tweets moderately unceremoniously with just like a little graphic here. You might have heard the rumors. It's time to reveal what we are working on. An open world Middle-earth RPG and a new Kingdom Come adventure. We're excited to tell you more when the time is right. Immediate impressions, Jerica.
I mean, will I try it? I will. I have never played Kingdom Come Deliverance. It's always a fun one to say. It's just funny to say come,
I agree.
and when it is what it is. But when I heard that it was such a slow paced game and just like really involved with being in this world to the point where you're like picking up, I don't know, blades of grass. I don't know, like just like crazy stuff they took time to create. I'll definitely try it. I think ended up getting a little bit bored. Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, and I didn't pick it up anymore. I was just like, well, this might be too of a slow burn for me. But combined with Lord of the Rings, just an IP that I'm from. Am I the biggest Lord of the Rings fan? No, but just being surrounded by an IP that I'm familiar with might be a little bit easier for someone like me to stay connected and keep pushing through the gameplay.
Yeah.
I thought I might have read too, like, it's not like a multiplayer, it's strictly just a single player RPG. Is that like what they have stated?
Correct.
Okay.
Yes. I am pretty much aligned with you, where I see from the outside Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 and all the acclaim that it got, and I've seen some people play it. I've never put my hands on it, but I do look at it, and despite being very intimidated by it, I also look at it and I think that it could click for me eventually. If I find the time, I would like to check that game out before the Lord of the Rings game, because the Lord of the Rings game announcement from a studio that's as acclaimed as Warhorse is enough for me to be like, I need to now go check out their back catalog so I can know what I'm getting into, because Lord of the Rings IP is powerful enough to drag me into genres or video games that I wouldn't normally be into. I think back to, I don't want to bury the lead here, but I've got some Lord of the Rings games pulled for today's conversation. Some of my favorite movie-based games ever throughout the years, different iterations and different genres. But this one in particular, just being a very in-depth, like, if I can live slice of life in fucking Mordor or the Shire in, you know, a modern graphics engine, that's going to be enough for me to jump into this thing. Kayla, any interest?
I've actually never watched Lord of the Rings ever.
That is really
which
surprising.
I think we've talked about this before. Yeah, I still haven't done it. Yeah, I think
you haven't read the
with
books?
You two. No, yeah, I've never watched them or read the books, which I know is probably surprising because I'm a big fantasy girly. But we have awoken dumpster boy in the chat.
What do we do? We need like let's start a fourth podcast, and it's just a year-long journey of like weekly check-ins with Kayla as she moves her way through everything Lord of the Rings. She'll read The Hobbit, she'll read the books, she'll watch the Lord of the Rings, she'll watch The Hobbit, she'll start to play the games of old, like the GameCube Hobbit game and Lord of the Rings Battle for Middle-earth 2 on the Xbox 360. And we'll just follow her journey closely.
She might turn into Gollum.
This is true.
See, I know some of the lore. I do know things about it, but I don't know why. I guess it just missed me at the age I was when it was coming out. I don't know if I was too busy like playing some of these games that we're going to talk about tonight.
Let's test Kayla's like zeitgeist knowledge of Lord of the Rings right now. Like, from not being into any of it directly, how many hobbits can you name?
Gollum.
Nope, but continue.
Oh,
well,
okay.
It counts. Kind of.
Yeah. One could argue Smeagol, and not so much in the form that you usually see him.
Smeagol, and then
we'll talk about that when you watch Return of the King.
Okay. Legolas is not.
Oh, Legolas is a good pull though. He's an elven archer, and he's hot.
I had like 4 posters of him in my room growing up.
Yes.
What a thing that baby Jerica went through. Yeah.
I love that.
Maybe it was the hair in the ears.
That's about all I got.
Forehead.
Yeah.
Frodo.
Oh, yeah. I know the name Frodo, but I didn't know that he was a hobbit, which is
That's fair. That's fair.
sad.
And his friends are too. Merry, Pippin, Sam. Can you name the wizard, the old man wizard?
Oh,
I feel like that's the.
Oh gosh. Sarah said, Kayla, what is a hobbit? No, that's about all I got. No, Gandalf.
All right, I'm gonna. Oh, Gandalf.
Yeah,
She fucking pulled it.
Yeah.
I always want to call him the Ganondorf for some reason. I always get that. Then Dumbledore. They're all three are just in my brain as the same person.
Iconic.
Old men with beards, you know.
Yep, for sure.
Yeah.
It all runs
Gandalf,
together.
Dumbledore, Jake Twitchin, old men with beards, you know. But I'm very, very excited, and I figured let's use this as a launching off point because I wanted to find out if I'm assuming Kayla the answer is no, but Jerica, do you have any history with any Lord of the Rings games?
Yeah, one's on my list too.
Uh, Hit me. What
It's
you
the
got?
only
Give
one
me
I've ever played. Two Towers.
Oh, the best one.
It
Well,
was one of the
that or
best
Return of the
games I
King.
ever played at that time in my life. Like, it was a true movie game, and it was cool. Like, I don't know when we want to get into it, but that game just fucking rocked my socks as a kid. And I think it was just because there's like, I don't know, you just didn't see like so many games with like scenes from the movie and like actual dialogue at the time. Like cinematics were in that game. Some would say that I've shared, I guess there's records of it. Like Shadow of the Colossus was like one of the first games that like truly showed me that games can be art, but maybe it was Lord of the Rings: The Two Towers. Because that was a pretty great game. Great gameplay, good graphics, good story. I mean, you don't have to reinvent the wheel with something like Lord of the Rings. But
Yeah. Did you play it alone or did you play it with somebody?
I play it by myself.
Very cool. My
No one
fondest
played with me.
memories
No one
of that
played with
game in
me.
particular, that's
Aw.
terrifying, was playing it with like a homie. And the fact that it had full campaign co-op and you could choose from 3 characters, so you could get some variety in there and switch things out was unbelievable. It was also
Yeah.
really nice because it was from the era of like there was a lot of split screen co-op back in the day, and you're kind of like you're already working with like a 21-inch TV that's in your living room and you're kind of like sitting close to it trying to get your view, and both of these being on like the same screen, you're running around together, was very, very nice as well. And I'm also very fond of its sequel. And now I want to reveal to you guys, if you're watching this after the fact on YouTube, you're in good shape, and if you're watching live on Twitch, you're in good shape. But I have 2 stacks of games here that I have pulled for the evening's events. They are games based on movies or TV shows that I have played and I'm willing to talk about. And then there's a whole stack of ones that I own, but I have not played, and they're like in my future streaming plans. And things get weird is my fucking warning. So I'll do some visuals and of course I'll verbalize it. But if you want to see these stacks, pretty impressive. But Lord of the Rings: Return of the King, I think
never
is...
got to that one.
Jerica, we got to get you back in the saddle.
Let's
when
go.
All right, when Kayla gets to Lord of the Rings: Return of the King, you two can co-op this game for JK
Hell yeah.
Games, because this one takes it to the next level. Basically, instead of just playing as Legolas, Aragorn, and Gimli in this game, you progress through and you have levels that still start those 3, but then you also have levels that you play as Gandalf or I think maybe Aragorn, and then you have ones where you play as Frodo and Sam, and they're kind of like stealthy. So there's like a lot of gameplay
awesome.
variety. It's
Man, like
very
3 games in
fucking
one.
cool.
See, that's what I love. I love when you
Yes.
can buy one game for the price of one, but technically it's 3 games, one price.
Yeah. Yep. It was a really tight package. It also had, we talked about this during the James Bond episode, which will be really light on James Bond conversation tonight,
Yeah.
because I think 2 or 3 weeks ago, we talked all about our favorite James Bond games on the podcast. Really good show. And of course, we're probably going to end up talking about it on Spotlight or JK Games or on this very podcast here in the near future, because the release of the new one is imminent. But these games that were made surprisingly by EA back in the day, during the era of EA being shit on the most, there was things happening at that company that were really, really positive for the bad rap that they got in like the mid 2000s, because these movie based games were made with care and they were made efficiently, and they had a lot of respect for the players that were into these existing IPs. The amount of special features and unlockables that were packed into these games during kind of what I consider to be like the dawn of hacking that stuff into a game, like that technology, you couldn't just watch scenes from a movie back in the PS1 or the Nintendo 64 era. So I think you can't understate how incredible it was. Jerica, you brought it up at the beginning here.
Yeah. Well, one thing
Go
that,
ahead.
I was like diving into it because I was so curious, like, because at the time I'm not thinking about like, who's the developer that made this game, and like, how did how did they even get the license to do this? Like, how does that conversation happen? And like, I already forgot. I wrote down the name of the studio that did the Two Towers. Did they do same studio? I wonder, did Return of the King? It doesn't matter.
I believe so, yeah. Stormfront is the
That
name.
makes sense. I was just so fascinated, like, also just like how many NASCAR games. The same studio that brought us
Love
one of the
NASCAR
best
games.
movie video games of all time. Lord of the Rings, The Two Towers, and then like they also did NASCAR '98.
Right, of course.
Also, did I say the Twin
Nice.
Towers or Two Towers? I keep
Oh,
forgetting,
boy.
you know,
That's
I
gonna
mean,
get
I don't
mixed
want to
up,
forget
folks.
9/11. That
I
was an
keep
accident.
forgetting when the slogan is
Is it
never
the Twin
forget.
Towers? Which one is which?
Jerica. Who could possibly tell? Who could
so funny.
possibly tell?
But yeah, NASCAR games, and then this. It's so fascinating. One studio did so much and was published by EA. A lot of them.
Yeah, it is kind of wild. I have a couple other drops just for Lord of the Rings games. I'm a big fan of Lord of the Rings: The Third Age, which was a turn-based RPG that basically ripped the battle system directly from Final Fantasy X, where if you're looking like Final Fantasies are really difficult to like, you could like a Final Fantasy and then play its next game in the series and the battle system will be changed just enough that you're like, this isn't my Final Fantasy. Whereas this one is like the only game in the world that's a carbon copy of Final Fantasy X with like the active battle system, and it was fucking awesome. Then Lego Lord of the Rings. I'm sure we'll talk about Lego games more tonight as well. Also, Lego Batman available now, kind of dope. And then I got this beauty as my other physical game. I do have the Lord of the Rings Gollum here,
I'm
which
jealous. I sort of want that.
honestly,
I wonder if you
bad rap.
physically still
This
huh?
bad rap. This game got a bad rap. It sucks,
No, come on.
but
it
it's not like the
sucks.
worst
I've seen
game I've ever
gameplay,
played.
though.
Yeah,
What anything worse than that you've played?
I think
Name the worst games you've ever played. Go.
Well, I have. There's a lot of really bad games in here, but I guess we can kind of segue out of Lord of the Rings into. I always group these two games together. It's the Skull Island Rise of Kong game that came out the same year as Lord of the Rings Gollum, and these are two of like the biggest heaps of shit that have ever existed. Like really, really bad games. It is kind of absurd, but I think Kong is like significantly worse than Lord of the Rings Gollum.
Wow.
And let me tell you, Lord of the Rings Gollum, still pretty bad.
I feel like it might be a little bit more endearing, and just hearing, you know, those voices. Probably, I'm sure there's a lot of dialogue from our guy.
There is, and it's odd. It is odd for sure.
Listen,
Kayla, yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say on the back of what you just compared, you want to know what's not a bad game and is one of the best like movie tie-in games is a different King Kong game, which is the like just King Kong like movie like official game on the Xbox 360 that came out in 2005. This one, I'll be honest, it's primarily this was like my brother's game that he was obsessed with. Coleman, he's been on content before on JK Games, but I remember watching him play this and remember thinking it's the best game I've ever looked at. Like the quality, the way that it looked was just like most of my games that I have to cover later are animated. I mean, they're all animated, let's be clear, but like based off animated movies. And I remember watching this gameplay and like seeing the dinosaurs in King Kong and thinking like cinema, like that meme, you know, the cinema meme. But yeah, this one was actually done by Ubisoft. And I don't remember a ton of like the individual scenes. Did either one of you play this one? The like movie one?
I didn't get
this game fucking rules. I think it was
so good.
2006, I want to say, and it's called it's Peter Jackson's King Kong. It's the one based on great fucking segue, Kayla. Peter Jackson, the director of the Lord of the Rings, of course. And that movie, which is also excellent, 3.5-hour masterpiece, has a really interesting movie-based game because the 360 one that you're describing is way better than its like PS2 and Xbox counterparts. The 360 one that I played and that you used to play has 2 games in one, like Jericho was talking about.
Let's go.
Half of the game you play a first-person shooter where it's kind of like a survival game and you're fighting the dinosaurs and trying to stay alive, and it's, you know, little people big world almost kind of thing while you're out there in the wilderness. But then the other half of the game you play as Kong, and you absolutely rock'em sock'em robots against some of these like Tyrannosaurus Rexes and bugs and whatnot. It's very fucking cool. Hey, look, good point.
Sort of like Turok. How do you say it? Turok.
Oh, we've Turok. No, you know.
We've been here before.
Also Mjolnir. I know I butchered your name last time.
Mjolnir, like Thor's ancient hammer of old.
Yes, exactly. Reminded me that I think everyone played that King Kong because 360 launched with like 4 games, and that's 100%
that was one
accurate.
Of them. Yeah,
I think that this was gifted to us with our 360 like for Christmas or something. Like 100%. I forgot. Thinking about honestly, that needs to be a file away. Like, what was the best launch game with console? I think that's a really good like future episode idea. We may have done that already. Maybe I'm missing it up.
No, I don't. I think we've talked like broad console launches, but we could get into the weeds for sure.
Yeah, I just remember really loving this one, and I'm looking at it now. Was Jack Black like one of the voice actors in this game? Is that right? I feel like I remember
Jack Black's
that.
one of the main characters in the movie.
Yeah,
Arguably the main character besides Kong or maybe Naomi Watts.
Wow.
that's true. Yeah, this one when I was looking up and I would like consulted my brother for like remembering because we played a lot of the similar games. I was like, oh yeah, I remember that really fondly. I feel like I would like to like replay that or watch like a replay of that. So.
Oh yeah. Spool in chat says King of the Monsters Godzilla games on the Super Nintendo are classic. Monsters It's 2, which is very, very true. And there's a couple other like there's a game called Godzilla Destroy All Monsters Melee for Melee in the title, and it's a GameCube game as well. And it's just like a kind of a Godzilla like 3D fighting game that's pretty fucking cool. I really do quite like it. But I want to talk is this a crazy segue? Mjolnir,
maybe, but it's okay.
Reminded me of Thor, and I played the Thor game based on the fucking movie very, very recently. And let me tell you, kinda good. Now, there was an era, it seems wild that there hasn't been more of a cash-in. I get they're kind of trying to, and there's some games on the horizon that are sort of like more Marvel or MCU adjacent, and we've had the Spider-Mans and whatnot. I'm sure we're going to talk plenty about superhero movies during this, but the Thor game in particular comes from this like really quick blurb of an era where they put out movies based on basically the entire phase 1 of Marvel's Avengers. So you had like an Iron Man game based on the movie Iron Man 2. You had Captain America Super Soldier, a recent pickup of mine that I haven't actually played, but it's a third-person game published by Sega and is really fucking cool, loosely based off of like the first Avengers movie. And then Thor, God of Thunder, with the likeness of like Chris Hemsworth and like Anthony Hopkins. And it is a really wild game, Idris Elba. And it's mostly, it's kind of like a 3D beat 'em up game. Plays a lot like God of War on PS2, like God of War 1, 2, or 3.
Okay.
And just like one of those really inoffensive games. You can knock it if like it wasn't the prettiest, the gameplay wasn't the best, like your frame rate is pretty low, but it doesn't do anything that is like offensive either. It's like such a great example of a 7 out of 10 game. I really like it.
Also, I remember, sorry, Jerica, I was just going to say, like, you reminded me, I feel like back in this era, there was so much more like original voice actor work in games. Like having the like original cast of the movie or the show like be in the video game. I feel like that doesn't happen like as much anymore. I just think that's very interesting to think about. Yeah, to reflect on. Inflation, man. Sorry, Jerica, what were you going to say?
I was just saying, like, I feel like movie games, I don't know, I don't think we've ever just talked about it as like a collective here that like most, I mean, I'm not doing the math. I'm just going to say this generally. Who cares if I'm right or wrong? But I feel like most of them are actually not that bad. And like, I mean, the ones that we're calling out, most of them are games we played and enjoyed enough. But like, I think it might be okay for a game to come out and be just the same thing you watched in theaters recently. Because like I remember just like playing, like I said, I've never been like a big Lord of the Rings fan, but like I love that movie so much, and I just wanted to be a part of that experience. And I think like having the game go alongside like a movie launch, like obviously an easy cash grab, but like it's cool that some of these were actually pretty cool, like and fun to play, and that I got to also partake in this adventure. I think that's so cool, and it's sort of sad. Like, I don't know, I just don't see as many of these games anymore unless I'm just not looking for them, but definitely not as many. And I don't know, like definitely not being published by major studios anymore.
I think you're really on to something, Jerica, because I think that, I don't know if it was just like a simpler time, because like all of the games that I have are kind of from like the early 2000s, like the era that I'm looking at. And this is just like particular to me as like a consumer at that time. But yeah, I feel like I don't know if we're just harder to please as gamers these days or like as a collective. But yeah, like I don't feel like we see very often, like especially like consecutively, like movie release, game release. Like that doesn't really happen anymore unless I'm just like blanking.
I get it. Some people might not want to work on that. I know that doesn't make my passionate heartbeat. Like if I was a game developer, like making
Yeah.
like something based on an original story. But I feel like it's also good for like smaller teams. Like, hey,
Yeah.
now we don't have to worry about the story. We just need to make fun gameplay. So there's like
Yeah.
a give and take with it.
I feel like we're almost seeing like the opposite in this era of like we will see shows and movies come from video games more often
Yeah.
than not. Like almost like the reverse effect, like Last of Us. I'm blanking on like there's so many right now, but like a lot of this is like almost happening in the reverse. It's just interesting to see like how trends
Yeah.
change over time.
And I think that some of them do, like, to me, not the most offensive thing. This isn't the right thing, and you can see the generation where the tide started to turn a little bit is they'll have like the kind of adjacent game, you know, like
Yeah.
these are all based on comic books, but it seems crazy to me that they were so dead set. Obviously it paid off and it's a very good game, but if you look at like Marvel's Spider-Man, it would have been so
Yeah.
easy to just tie that in to the Spider-Man No
Yeah.
Way Home, Far From Home, Homecoming universe with Tom Holland, but instead they went a different direction and told their own story. And I
Yeah.
wonder if it's like a studio decision more often than not, because I think back to the PS3 and 360 era where we started to kind of lose our way when it came to those like quick cash-in games. And I think about studios like High Moon, I believe was the name of it, that were an Activision studio that made game like Transformers War for Cybertron, widely regarded as like the best Transformers game. And at the same time, they put out a sequel to this game and a pseudo sequel that kind of involved the movies based on Dark of the Moon. And that was the one that was the most poorly received. And it seemed like their passion was maybe for the game that was telling more of an original story, something that they were more a part of. So I wonder how much of it is like developer focused. But to get us back on topic, to bring up the point that you were talking about the voice actors that
Yeah.
would add not only their likeness but their actual voice to these games,
Yeah.
baffles me. Leading up to the release of Lego Batman earlier this week on Monday, I streamed Batman Begins for the original Xbox based off of the Nolan movie. And right away you play through the game, same deal. Like I could just literally just tell you it's the same exact description that I just gave you of the Thor game, only there's some stealth gameplay where it's inoffensive. It's not the worst looking game of that era. It's not the best looking game. The gameplay is a little bit clunky, but it's ample. It doesn't offend you. But then you go to the special features, and every time you finish 2 levels, you just get this behind the scenes thing. And one of the special features is like this 4-minute vignette of like, you know, standard definition quality footage of Christian Bale and Morgan Freeman and Michael Caine doing the voices for their characters and checking out footage for the game and recording their lines. When was the last time Morgan Freeman was in a fucking video game, or Michael Caine? Like that just came with the territory. So many massive actors from that era, like 15 years ago or so, were lending their voices and their likenesses to these games, and it's happening few and far between, not to keep rifling through them. But another great example is Hugh Jackman in Van Helsing for the original Xbox. Like a mid-movie, a mid-game, doesn't offend anybody, has some funny moments and some interesting gameplay pieces, but Hugh Jackman putting it all on the line. Like a massive contribution as far as like the work that went in. And they talk a little bit about it in some of those behind the scenes things, and the Batman one is like fresh in my head. And one of the things that I believe Michael Caine was talking about was that when you're doing like ADR for a movie, it's a fucking annoyance because you've already shot the scenes and said the words out loud, and you're now re-saying those lines verbatim to match the tone in the mouth movement that you made already in the world. Whereas the basic, like, you know, graphical composition of the scene has been done, but they haven't done the lip syncing, or the camera might not even be focused on them when they're recording their lines for the video games. So they just go in there, rattle off their lines in a day or two, and they're done. They love it in comparison to recording lines for a movie. A lot easier of a fucking paycheck. But then at the same time, they have no idea what's going on. At the very end, Michael Caine says, "You're gonna have to give me one of those games and one of the things to play it on," which is
So funny to think about.
Man,
Yeah.
speaking of him, did y'all ever like follow him on Twitter or whatever? He was active on social media, and like I feel like he would have like some kind of tweet like once a year or something just silly.
Yes, I vaguely remember this. I can't pull any like off the top of my head, but I do remember Michael Caine having an odd Twitter presence.
Yeah, it was like very unique. I just remember like everybody's like, oh, he's on Twitter now, and he just like having, it's not what he said, but like having a glass of milk with cookies or just something like that.
Yeah.
That's so funny.
Hell yeah.
People,
Kayla, will you give me another like 7 out of 10 game? Like nothing, not like an absolute winner, but something that you particularly love as like a 7.
Well, here's the thing. I don't know if this is actually a 7, and I don't know if we want to dip our toes into this conversation quite yet, but I'm itching a little bit to talk about this game in particular. And Jake, I feel like you've probably played this game. What do you know about the Finding Nemo game on the GameCube? You got that one handy? Is it there?
Kayla, I'm so glad you asked. I don't have it on the GameCube. I have Finding Nemo, of course, for the PlayStation 2. Which is the same game, and it is wonderful. I love this game.
I don't know if it technically would be a 7 out of 10, because let's be real, I don't even know if at the time, obviously looking back on it now, quality-wise, not the best. But some moments that really stick out to me from this, it's the same vein, like Jerica mentioned earlier, talking about like movie and then game release, like immediately. This came out the same year. So that's interesting. It came out in 2003. I played it on the GameCube, and this is really like the era where I feel like it was rampant. Like GameCube and PS2 had so many like movie games. And this one, I just like vividly remember the level where you would like swim through the little bubble rings, like that level. And where you would jump on the mines, like you had the little like mine balloon things that you would jump on.
You were being pursued by the shark.
Yes, and it was scary, and it was hard too.
Very.
Like, I remember this being very difficult. I hope that the chat remembers. It looks like some people do in the chat, which is very fun. But this, I remember pretty closely following the movie, if I remember correctly. But yeah, this is one that sticks out to me for sure, and I don't know that it holds the test of time, but I would love to play this again, because some of those scenes in particular, because I was a wee child at the time. But Jerica, did you play this one?
Nope.
You didn't? You missed it?
No.
It was very good.
It sounds fun. You almost sold me on it. Maybe I should pick it back up.
I played it as a kid, and then I reacquired it and I streamed it probably the first half of the game for a few hours like 2 years ago. And
I think I remember that.
It does hold up. It's very fun. Okay. It's very cool. It's easy breezy until it gets hard. It's got some of those like, because there's like so much variety in it. Sometimes you're doing like a 2D level. I think there's like some missions where you can't like attack. You just have to like avoid the bad guys as like Dory when you're kind of like in like the deep ocean. And then the ones that you were talking about where you have to go through the rings in order to like maintain your speed so you don't get like caught by the shark that's pursuing you can get really difficult. And I think I credit a lot of that to that like changing of gameplay. It's just a random difficulty spike for this thing that it's asking you to do. But yeah, this game is great. And another one that's a direct movie tie-in released right alongside the movie essentially, and follows the plot of the movie almost exactly. And that was just standard fare for the longest time. But I just wanted to show you guys how pretty the manual for this game is. This is like a double-page spread of the Finding Nemo manual that only has writing here in the top right, life under the sea, and it's a nice picture of Marlin and Dory. And just the opening sentence is such a funny, like, lost art of video game manuals and just games of this time period and movie-based games. Welcome to Disney and Pixar's Finding Nemo, the video game that brings all of the excitement and adventure of the movie to your PlayStation 2 computer entertainment system. Like,
computer.
Bring me back, computer.
That's so good. I do miss manuals too. But yeah, this also fun fact. What do you guys think the Metacritic score is for this one? Any guesses?
58.
I'm just going based off what y'all are saying. If I feel like this should be in the 70s based on y'all's, at least.
It was a 63, unfortunately. But I
that
hear it was a
low.
63. Yeah. I just had it pulled up because I was looking at it on old Wikipedia. Any other Disney ones? Any other like fresh Disney ones on y'all's mind?
I mean, anything that came out for the Sega Genesis, I'm showing my age there, but like those games are still fucking hard, but so cool. Great soundtracks, like Lion King. Recently played the remake of that, and then I still can't beat like the 3rd or 4th level, whatever. Yes, Aladdin or the Jungle Book.
I just brought out the Jungle Book for Genesis, one of my favorites, right in line with that, Jerica.
Like they're all like, I feel like none of them missed. They were just hard as hell and still hard as hell, you know. But yeah, that's just part of it. Just making kids think that video games will never be easy, which is like life. So it taught me a good lesson.
A really good point, actually. I do know that when we did our gaming first grid on social media that you can still fill out. It's still on our Instagram if you would like it. A lot of people's first game they rage quit was The Lion King on Genesis. I noticed. I didn't have a Genesis, so I missed this era of gaming. But I know I would have ate up all those Disney games because I was a big Disney fan.
It's not too late.
Too.
Maybe we spam through them, Kayla, because I'd be curious just to see what you think.
A lot of those are like available on modern consoles. Like I feel like they got like PS4, Xbox One like era re-releases that'll play on all the modern stuff.
Like whatever came through limited run, I got one of theirs. Like it's like the bundle of all the Jurassic Park games. Also hard as hell, but so fun. Just so nostalgic for those.
I just played a very weird Jurassic Park game. Or technically, I'm in the middle. I'm only on. I finished episode 2 of 5 episodes. I'm playing the Jurassic Park Telltale game.
Ooh,
you know this game?
Is it
Tell
at
us
least
more.
like as a Jurassic Park fan, is it worth picking up just to maybe? Or God, you're hesitating. I guess not.
It's a weird video game. Okay, so here's the thing.
Okay.
So this game came out right before, like 8 months before the Walking Dead Telltale game, which is like the one that really put them on the map. You know, like Telltale Walking Dead is a legendary drop in it, and it really, I think, took things to like that next level for them. You can tell why it was The Walking Dead that popped off and not Jurassic Park that popped off. It's a little jankier. It's a little slower. There's a lot of like standing there and it's like 4 interactive pictures and you've got a cursor and you're just trying to kind of figure out what the fuck I'm supposed to do next. Investigate the tracks or talk to the person that passed out or check in the bushes or go to the scene with the car. And it's a whole
point
thing.
And clicky.
It is very point and clicky, no doubt. But it has its moments, and I like it in the same way that I like some of these kind of bad games because it has some really funny things when you fail its QTEs. It's a very QTE heavy game where it'll be like mash A to run away from the dinosaur, and if you just stop mashing A and let the dinosaur get it, this thing will flip cars and like kill children and like stomp on people and shit. It's fucking madness.
You sold me. Like I'm so down. That's the energy I need.
Yeah.
And like, I could get down with that.
Yeah,
for sure.
It's an interesting one though, and I think it brings up another really good point that kind of ties into our previous one, where a lot of this stuff with like the IPs can run into some real severe licensing issues. So to play Jurassic Park, I had to buy a used Xbox 360 copy of it, disc only, for $50 because it's long delisted from modern consoles. It was a 360 PS3 only, and it's no longer available digitally, even if we could connect to those stores to buy them. They just lost the rights over the years. So a real pain in the ass, and I wish it was easier to
I guess I just have to watch
access.
you play.
Yeah. Well, let me tell you, I got a great place for you to do it.
Twitch.tv/JakeTwitchin.
That's exactly correct.
Is this a time where I can bring up a slightly different genre, if that's okay?
Yeah, for sure.
Did you guys play any of the Seen It games? The Seen It games.
I feel like I sort
Core
of
memory unlocked.
see this logo and it's reminding me of like a Yak Back. The recorders. Why is that like blending for me right now? What is that?
That's like a thing where you would like record your voice and it would play your voice back to it, right?
Why am I seeing that device with the logo of whatever just
I feel like marketing wise they kind of are similar in a lot of ways.
Okay.
Maybe so, and maybe around
Sorry,
this time.
I didn't mean to derail this, but I was like, what is that?
I want to make
those
the connection.
Games? Kayla, help me remember.
So basically, Seen It games, they have 2 different versions. So there's like a board game where it'll be like licensed IP movies, or you'll have more broad like categories like Disney movies. And you have to guess from they'll play a scene from the movie and you have to guess like trivia questions essentially. I'm so glad that Sirius Shard in the chat brought it up because I specifically want to talk about the Twilight one. I was a big Twilight girly in school. I love Twilight and I will never be ashamed of that. So there's a lot of these came out on the Wii. So they had like the physical board game version, but then they started making video game versions, which was actually pretty clever marketing on their part of like it being like your favorite movies and basically them having like trivia. No real gameplay besides like a scene would play and you would like as a group you would like pick your answers. And also there was some Harry Potter ones as well, like Sirius said. But the Twilight Seen It game on Wii went platinum in my household in 2009. So I just figured this is like a kind of a random like genre, and I thought some people might have some unlocks from it. Pixelated Soul said might have played the board game version, and then they had like DVDs and things like that. But they did make some for consoles. Some other ones that they had, there was apparently Pirates of the Caribbean ones. There was like specifically Nickelodeon, just in general video game version on the Wii. Jake, did you play any of these, or do you remember playing any of these?
Yeah, I played a couple different Scene It's. I think it's so interesting because the Scene It games go places, like the ones that you were saying for sure, but then it gets like fucking weird. Like there's like Friends and Doctor Who and stuff like that. Like they get into the weeds. And I think I was looking at the list just now, and they made a Scene It updated for 2022 as of like less than 5 years ago. So Scene It might still be around. I'm not sure. But what's really interesting is that in the like mid 360 era, when kind of interacting with your consoles in different ways via Kinect or your Wii remote were sort of the thing, there was a series of Scene It games that came with a set of 4 controllers that looked like buzzers, where you would plug them in via USB and then hand them to your family member, and you could actually keep track of who was answering the questions correctly by smashing your buzzer and then answering via the keypad that was included on the buzzer of like which of your multiple choice answers were correct. And it was a great, like, grandma on the couch can figure this out. She's watched Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. She understands you got to press the fucking button and stuff like that. That kind of thing. Pretty cool. Very cool, and a good pull. I didn't think about that at all. And it's like like metagaming with movie-based game. Like, oh, that is exactly the definition of a game based on a movie, I fear.
Yeah, it's like this. And honestly, I didn't really come prepared with that. Something in the chat made me like unlock that memory. And I was like, oh, same. And that's always really fun. But one, I don't want to steal the thunder, so somebody else go next.
Please continue.
What else you guys got? Did either of you play the Happy Feet game? Do you know? Are you familiar with Happy Feet?
Not. I know the movie. I have not touched the game.
So basically, Happy Feet is, I don't remember. I think the movie also came out in 2006. I sent this in the. I don't think I sent it in the Discord. I think I sent it in our secret Discord. But if you want to join, we do have a Discord. It's linked right now it's pinned in the live chat, but then also you can find it literally everywhere else. We'll have some submissions later, but I did some field research at a secondhand store like that's local to us for games. And I was like, oh, I totally forgot about this Happy Feet game. And the reason why it was really like special to me at the time is it had this like dancing mode, which this is like a thing in the movie where you're these little cute penguins. And this little penguin that's the main character gets like made fun of because he like shuffles and he like dances around. And there was like a DDR almost kind of like mode in this game where you had to like mash buttons to like the rhythm of the game. I have no rhythm, so rhythm games are hard for me, but I remember really liking this one. And again, 2006, like GameCube era. It came out on GameCube, PS2, and DS as well. So that was just like a fun one. It had a lot of different like mini game modes. I watched some like footage before this to like remember it. Yeah, it was very fun. So I wanted to mention it. I'm sad that
I was hoping you were gonna say that you went into the store asking, "Hey, do you have Happy Feet?"
No,
and maybe you went
found it
to
in
every
the
store, local like thrift store, wherever you went, just Happy Feet on, I don't know, the Wii, whatever it was on, PS2.
No, but yeah, that was my next one. What else you guys got?
Very good. I can piggyback off of the kind of like that era of CG animated movies like Finding Nemo and Happy Feet. I feel like this one goes in there, and at this point I need to frame this and just put it on my wall because I've been holding on to this fucker and saying that this is our like break glass in case of emergency backup game for going on like 4 years now. And it is a copy of Shark Tale for the original Xbox, brand new and sealed, uncracked, untarnished by the hands of some child that traded it into a store. So at some point we will break the seal on this thing and play it because Shark Tale is a fun little movie, and I'm positive that would be a fucking excellent game.
My sister had a baby and she had no arms and no feet. You know, the little shrimp.
I
Do you know what I'm talking
do.
I was like, what is
Yes.
happening right now? I was like, is she saying
That's so
that
funny.
if someone has a baby, is that when Jake's gonna break the glass? Is that the moment?
That would be a good time in which to do it.
No, it's the scene from the movie. I'm sorry.
The other game that I will throw into, or I guess the other game series that I will put into that is the Ice Age series. Now, I have an interesting history with the Ice Age games because I let them pass me by. I had no interest. And then I have certainly told this story on this podcast before, but it's been years now at this point. We had a snowstorm 2 or 3 years ago in the winter where we lost power for like 12 hours. And then randomly in the middle of the snowstorm, the power came back. So I had already been without power for a long time, living by candlelight. Power's back, internet's back. I'm like, fuck it. Let me go live right now while I still can and see how long the power stays on for. Because I was like, we're on borrowed time. This is going to get knocked out again for sure. Yet somehow, by some miracle, throughout this blizzard, we stayed live. This is basically the story of the miracle of Hanukkah, if you're familiar with it, but only it's the power, and it's so I can play Ice Age Scratch Nutty Adventure start to finish. I thought I would only have it for a few hours, but instead I stayed live for 5 hours and played this game like from the moment it started to the ending credits in one sitting. And this game was such a weird little throwback mess. You're probably thinking like Scratch Nutty Adventure, this game must have come out in like 2008 or something like that. No, this is like a 2019 or 2020 release. Might have
That's
even
wild.
be 2021. Yeah, it's the 4th or 5th game in the Ice Age series,
Come on.
and it's the only one that's not technically based off of a movie. It tells its own original story.
Oh
And
shit!
it is a
Wow.
crazy video game. It is really, really fun, but it runs into some very bizarre issues where at the end you can tell that they just do not have enough budget to continue this game. Like the structure of the game is you do like 4 levels and you fight a boss. Then you do 4 levels and you fight a boss. And then you do 2 levels and then the video game ends. There's no final boss in this game.
Wow.
The cutscene just plays, and out of nowhere, the ending transpires, which I think Cayman has spoiled on a previous episode. But the ending scene coming out of left field and being what it is quite literally one of the wildest video game or movie or TV show endings I have ever seen. With no context, something happens that is so insane. I cannot believe that it actually happens.
How long is this game?
I think it's like you could easily fly through it in 4 hours. Easily.
Let's go. I
3 and
want
a
to play
half.
this. I want to get to this ending.
You should. You should.
Okay.
It'll be worth it. There's no chance that you get there and you're like and you're not like hands on your head like, what the fuck did I just watch? Why
I
did
got
this
some time
happen?
away that I'll have some time to maybe. This is what I stream instead of beating Tears of the Kingdom. I'm gonna do this instead. I'm more interested in this now. I love
Yes.
an ending that shocks people and you just don't see coming. So
Yes. Now, here's the
Okay.
thing. Don't expect like a massive Hollywood twist with a bunch of like exposure.
I don't.
It's interesting in that like it's like the whole time you've been taking a joyous motorcycle ride, and then at the very end you get hit by a bus and it just stops.
that is
Like
my
it is like a
favorite
fucking
type of movie game. So I'm ready.
yeah.
This is perfect.
Yes. Yeah. I
Okay.
think you will enjoy it. Anything else for like that 3D animated era? There's a bunch of them that are kind of on my list that I don't even have here that I haven't played yet. The biggest one that is now lingering that I didn't get to this year that I hope to get to maybe as we get like closer into the fall after the summer era is B Movie, the game based on the movie.
Oh my god.
The B Movie game, of
That
course.
is a good one.
I just
have
don't
played
like how
that
that
one.
B looks. I've never been into the B movie or the B game. The B
Yeah,
movie
B
game.
Movie is kind of like a kind of memed the fuck out. You know what I
It
mean?
is.
That's
Like
what
B
I'm
Movie
thinking, and I just don't like its face.
is
It's
there, but
too
I feel like I never
emotional.
hear anything about the game. And the game not easy to find. Again, lost to time, 360 and PS3 only for hard copies. There might be a Wii version.
Classic.
And more expensive. Like, why is that game still $30 like all these years later type of thing? Like, just not very popular, not very good, but excited to get to it. The other one that comes to mind that I haven't played that I want to is Barnyard. You guys know this movie?
Oh my god, it's on my list.
Never
to
seen
talk
the movie,
about.
but I know of it. Yeah. Also, was just like, I don't know about this story, but I'm interested to see what kind of game it is.
Yeah,
what do you know?
I played this game on the PS2 and it's really fun, and I think that this is where my farm sim obsession unlocked.
Interesting.
Because you
Oh.
have these kind of like I'm going to use this term loosely because it's not really what this game is. This game is pretty similar to the movie, which is wild, by the way, still. But you have to like collect these like items, and you have almost this like base building a little bit aspect to the game. You ride a bicycle around as the little Otis cow, but it's pretty big. Like the map's pretty large. I actually was pulling this up because it was one I was going to mention in tandem of this kind of like era of game. And I'm watching the footage, and there you kind of have a huge map, to be honest. I highly recommend this game. I think this would be a fun one to stream, Jake. Ooh, maybe you could bring back. Did you do a jamboree where you drank a lot of milk one time? I feel like that would be a good
I
one
did,
to
yeah. That
bring
was
back
a
on this.
fucking nightmare. I actually
Yeah.
told everybody that I would never do a milk-based jamboree again, or a dairy one that has like a finite goal. I drank a half gallon of Minecraft milk, and I couldn't
Oh, that's
end until
right.
I finished the half gallon. And the last like 15 minutes of that, you should go watch how much I'm physically squirming during the last 15 minutes of that VOD, because there's so much milk inside me and it's doing things to my stomach that I don't want to describe in detail here.
Wow.
Nightmare.
Incredible.
But I do know in that game, Barnyard, that your main attack is a cow standing on its hind legs, squirting milk out of its udders at people.
That's what
That's
I was hoping
correct.
for.
Yeah.
That's right. And that's how it is in the movie too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We gotta talk about udders one day on a
Oh.
podcast. I don't know where that becomes relevant, but let's have an udders focused podcast soon.
Yeah.
There's been a lot of
Um,
udders in video games, so
There's something there with like the weirdest weapons in video games. Write that down.
Ooh,
Noah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Noah, write that down.
Noah.
That'd be good.
Do you guys see
South
lightning
Park,
behind me?
Oh, I didn't see it.
Yeah. Oh.
South Park comes to
Scary.
mind a little bit for odd things. I'm not going to
Yeah.
go into South Park. I'm not too fond of any of the South Park games. I've played Chef's Love Shack back in the day, the trivia one, and the original South Park game for the 64. And I think those two RPGs from Ubisoft, I think, are also fairly impressive. But the
Stick of Truth
first
was
South
so
Park,
good. I don't even care
Yeah.
about South Park. I've watched a few episodes, but I don't love South Park. But I fucking love that video game. Me
Really?
and Audrey played it the same time. Isn't that random? We just picked.
Yeah.
I tried. I was like, everyone's talking about so much about
Yeah.
this game, and we tried it. I was like, this is awesome. Nothing Butthole, also incredible. Way
Yes,
better than I
yes.
thought.
The South Park game on 64 was big in my circle of friends because it was 4-player split screen, and it was like kind of a first-person shooter, but we would do snowballs only mode where you could pick up a snowball and throw it, or you could take the extra time that it takes to piss on the snowball, and then it does extra damage when you throw it. But it was the
It's
balance of
amazing.
you can't do it as fast. You got to wait for the piss to complete. So very funny stuff.
Josh from the Dido account said Seth MacFarlane almost died in 9/11. Is that real?
Interesting. Possibly.
Interesting.
We have one last elephant in the room for
Yes.
the like CG animated 3D character era. And
Yes.
I feel like one of you guys has to have played a game from this series. Any fucking Shrek enjoyers?
Oh yeah.
Kayla, you
Yeah.
take it away then. I didn't play any Shrek games. I didn't
Oh.
like Shrek. I still don't. It's fine.
Listen,
I'm a
this is
Shrek
very-
hater.
This is kind of niche. I want to hear about why
It's
Jerica
kind
hates
of
Shrek.
niche.
But this is not a game, and I hate to derail us if this is Jake, you can strike this down if this isn't where I should mention
Take
this.
it away.
Oh, okay, perfect. In the Shrek, one of the Shrek movies, I think it's the third movie. I can't remember. There's a game at the end of the movie. Like there's a game in the movie, like either the before credits or after credits, where there's this like talent show where all of them are like singing, and you have to like vote on who has the best. It's like almost like American Idol, but it's for like the contestants of Shrek. Do you remember this, Jake? Does this ring a bell to you?
Is it like the credits of the movie?
It's either in the credits or it's in like the main screen. You know how like games or movies used to be cool and you could like do stuff in the like opening like
It's like a
scene
DVD
thing?
special feature type of thing?
Yeah. And I can't remember which one it was, but
Interesting.
it was very interesting. Also, shout out Jackal for the sub. Thank you so much, Jackal. We'll read your comment in a minute. We'll have to have a listener segment.
Yes.
But yeah, I have played Shrek games. I'll be honest, none of them are super memorable sticking out to me, but I'm sure you have some. Also, Jerica, why do you hate Shrek? What's the tea
Yeah.
there?
I just don't like how it looks. I don't like Shrek. It's not as
Oh.
appealing to me. I don't like a lot of the facial animations in the movie. There's parts that are funny, but I'm like, he's been too memeified at this point. That's just, I wasn't already a fan, and now it's just like in my face with the memes, which I do like some of them. Yeah, I'm just never been a big Shrek enjoyer.
That's fair.
All right, hear me out. We start a podcast, goes for 1 year. We immerse Jerica in everything Shrek.
Maybe
he watches
I'm
the
not-
movies.
I'm always open to anything. I'm like, please help me understand, because I feel like I'm missing out sometimes, and I'm like, I don't want FOMO anymore. But why don't I enjoy this more? Help me enjoy it.
I get it. Listen, it's not too late. If you started now, we have, I think it's the end of June of 2027. Shrek 5 comes out.
Whoa.
You could
yeah.
be in. You could be in on the initial wave still before
Well,
the new generation gets in.
The first movie is coming back to theaters. I remember seeing that, and me and Audrey like literally look at each other. I'm like, might be worth seeing that in theaters. Maybe
It
try.
is.
And she just laughed. She's like, nah, you
I
can't
heard
make
her.
me go see that. That looks like shit.
That's so funny.
Okay.
Maybe they remake
Now-
it. Let's go. I need movies to be remade now.
I'm gonna bend the rules on this because one of the coolest things I've ever done in my streaming career, and I can relate it directly to telling you that Shrek 1 holds up, is I played through the entire Shrek movie on Guitar Hero via Clone Hero.
That's right. I remember this.
Where I
Oh,
quite
see, that's part
literally
of it.
dressed
That's
up.
what Shrek fans do, though. That's it. It's always to the extreme. Why?
Correct.
I don't want to do that, though.
I'm telling you,
Is
the
that the
movie
best way
is
to
like,
play?
it might be the best way to enjoy it if you're a big Guitar Hero fan. But for me, what was so
True.
cool about it is like that movie has very interesting pacing in that it's not quite a musical, but there's a lot of musical beats in it. Like you probably hear a good like 13 songs for like more than a minute. And then there's a couple like jingles and nursery rhymes and like these musical elements and things that happen. And it's very fucking cool. And the way that you play through it as well is very rarely are you like just sitting there for 5 minutes between like song to song while they talk. There's usually something interesting happening. If it's not like a musical note, then like a fairy appears and it goes like, it does like a fairy like kind of sparkly sound effect, and you play that on the guitar too in like this crazy combo. Or Shrek belches and you have to like hold down all 4 buttons and strum and then hit the whammy bar to continue going. And it works way better than it should. It feels a little bit like if you watch The Wizard of Oz and hit play on the wall at the same time, it all lines up perfectly. But
Oh my god.
Shrek and Guitar Hero, a match made in heaven. But there's other good Shrek games too. I think the Shrek 2 game, specifically on PS2, Xbox, GameCube, is kind of a banger. Kayla, have you tried?
I have tried that one. Yeah. I don't remember a ton about it, but I just looked it up and I do remember playing it and enjoying it. I liked Shrek back in the day. It wasn't like my favorite IP, but I had fun like with the movies and with the American Idol game that nobody remembers in the movie.
I think Shrek 1 and 2 are like genuinely like very good movies, and they have fun
Yeah.
games, and there's weird lore too. Like there's a pair of really good 2D like platformer beat 'em up games, like Shrek's Smash and
Oh.
Crash, I think is maybe the name of one of them, or Castle Chaos, something along those lines. But
Yeah.
there's like very cool stuff happening. Shrek Fairy Tale Freakdown. What you know about that? That's the title of a
Fairy Tale
fucking very
Freakdown.
cool video game. Welcome to
Oh.
the Freakdown.
Thought it was something else, but okay.
I get it.
That's the private
Um,
Steam of Jake.
That's
I have a couple
right.
more in this. I can rattle off in this realm. Is that okay if I do that?
Yeah, please.
Did you play either one of you play the open season game on the GameCube?
No, but I know it very well. That one is on like a wish list next to Over the Hedge.
Yeah, so
I
all
always
the
compare those two.
same. Yes, so open season is a very funny movie and game where you play as like these like different. You have a deer that you play as. I think it's Bogey and Elliot, I think is the name of the animals. So that one. Another one that I hold near and dear is the Robots game on PlayStation 2, where you
Oh.
have these different like robot characters. It's directly like based on and from the movie. there's that one, and then the barnyard one, which we already talked about. That's kind of like the one, and then also kind of different but similar in a way is the Stuart Little games. Did you guys play any of Stuart Little? Are you fans? There was a Stuart Little game on the Game Boy Advance. This is like one of the only games I played on the Game Boy Advance because it was kind of like out of my era. But it was cool because it was like one of the first platformers I played, I think. And you had to find this like jewelry, and it's cool because like Stuart Little is like a mouse. You play as like a little mouse. Oh, wait for it. Said in the chat that they played it. So, and you're like small and you're in this like environment. It's really cool. Those are just a couple of like kind of the same vibe that I played.
Oh shit. Sorry. That was just me getting tired, and then also just not waiting my turn to speak and getting excited because I just remembered something.
No, go ahead. Yeah, I feel like I've
you're
yapping.
listing off a lot of games. Jake's just played every video game. It doesn't matter what
Also
it is.
true, yeah.
It doesn't matter before his time or even after his time. He's still alive and he's played games in the future, I'm sure. But I'm just like, man, what am I not forgetting this part of my childhood? Because I just played a lot of easy kid games growing up, and I'm just like, why am I having a hard time remembering some of these? Well, a couple have come to mind. Because I was just curious. Well, I talked about this recently, but the Space Jam game, and I'm glad Jake's here because because Josh also known for playing every random game ever made, High Score Weekly. Have you played the Space Jam game? Like the first one, like I played this on PC, and then it came to
where
I think
you're just playing like basketball, right? Like with the Toon Squad and the fucking Monstars.
Yeah. And that's like still one of my like I have not thought about that game until why did we bring that up, Kayla? We were talking about space games. It was on my list for like one of my favorite like sci-fi games. But there was like a mode, like a mini game mode, because like all these games too, why we keep saying like have multiple modes in one. And like the mini game where you had like the little space car or whatever was like my favorite part of the whole experience. If y'all know what I'm talking about, go check it out. That's pretty good. So I played a lot of that. I played a lot of Space Jam. There's a Tarzan game that I played that was, I think, ahead of its time.
Ooh, I played a Tarzan Unleashed game where you do there's this game called Tarzan Unleashed. I forgot that existed that I played on like GameCube. That was a child?
Like I just remember playing the beginning. He's like a baby. He's a
no,
baby Tarzan with the little baby gorillas. I played that one. Whatever that one is, I played.
That was awesome, Kayla. I did see the fucking lightning in the background of your whole situation right there.
If y'all lose me, keep going. It's nice knowing.
Let me check the doctor. Hold on.
But the Tarzan game that I played was called Tarzan Unleashed, the GameCube launch window game, where the entire game is like an extreme sports game where you're basically wakeboarding. It's like downhill water sliding on like a piece of bark that kind of plays like a
sliding. I loved the Disney Tarzan like idea of sliding on vines. What a great blending for a video game. Yeah, that's
for sure.
That was fun.
Kayla, continue your list.
Yeah. I can also, if we want at some point to go through the chat stuff, I can pull that up too. But another one I have is a Lizzie McGuire game. If we're talking about shows, I had this Lizzie McGuire game on my, I feel like, so it technically released on Game Boy Advanced, but I had the DS and I just had the Game Boy Advance game like in my DS, which also that's a whole other conversation about how we used to be able to play so many different types of games on our consoles, and why can't we do that anymore? I guess we can't PC, like obviously, but I hyper fixated when I went to the secondhand game store I mentioned earlier on like recollecting my physical collection. So I'll keep you updated on how that goes.
Yes.
But it was called Lizzie McGuire on the Go, and it came out in 2003, and it was hard. I remember really struggling on some of the scenes. You're basically like in a mall and you're having to like navigate. My brother Coleman is in the chat who's backing me up, that said we used to play it together and we would play the game where you had like these little boxes. Yeah, I 100% remember it, and it was really tough, but it was really fun. Other ones that I haven't mentioned yet. I think that's, I know Jake knows this one. The Rugrats Go Wild that came out in 2003.
Is that
with the Thornberries?
Yes.
Man. I played some Rugrats game for like the PlayStation 1. It was like the first one. It was pretty cool. We
Yeah.
played through a lot of different weird. I feel like Tommy Pickles was having like a major trip because I feel like there were
Okay.
some wild levels in whatever Rugrats game I played.
Yeah.
I need to pick your brains on Rugrats games because I remember this
Yes.
core memory and I don't know which game it came from, but I had a Rugrats game and I don't think it was a dedicated golf game, but there was a mini golf
Yeah.
segment in this
It's gotta be
Rugrats
the
game.
one that was on PlayStation because I remember that.
And I remember
too.
a big like ice cream tower that I would
Yeah.
like whale the ball off of and have endless amounts of fun with. Very good pull with Rugrats
Yeah.
games, Kayla.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Hell yeah.
the specifically the Gone Wild one was the one where they oh, wait for it, said search for Reptar. Is maybe the one y'all are
got
talking about.
Yep.
I think
Googling.
so. Okay. Yeah.
And then yeah, I remember the one that I'm talking about, the Go Wild one, was the one that was the collaboration with the Wild Thornberries. And there's some very difficult scenes in that game that it was like me and my brother would like tag team where like one of us would play it and the other one would pass on. And I played that on PC. I think that was all of the ones that like came to mind. We briefly talked about Spider-Man. Specifically the one on Windows that came out in the early 2000s was so cool, and I remember it being so fun, and it had like every single villain in the game. Like every single Spider-Man villain was in the game, like Doc Ock, you had Carnage, you had Rhino, like every single villain was just like in this game.
Yes.
And so I know we kind of talked about superhero ones earlier, but I really had that one on my list that I wanted to mention. But
Well, no,
all
I
the
think
main
I think
things.
that Spider-Man era in particular is really interesting because
yeah,
it's tough. Like I would argue, one could argue that like Marvel's Spider-Man by Insomniac does not count for this conversation as it is not
Yeah.
based off of the movie. But the one that you're
Yeah.
describing, which is based off of the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man movies, does count. And I
Yes.
really, really loved that era. And like the jump
too.
from Spider-Man 1 to 2 in that era with the web swinging
Crazy.
increase was a mind fuck. That was like a actual friends came over, I have a brand new Xbox and I have Spider-Man 2 and check out this web swinging, and we would just like after school for hours just swing around that city doing like side missions and stopping robberies and whatnot on the street.
That's so cool.
I remember like when the Vita was announced and like not the Vita, just the it was the Vita.
Okay.
Like that was like a launch title or not, like there was something coming to it. And that was already a really cool thing to experience in a video game, but just knowing that I could play that handheld as well, like the first game I picked up for my my Vita was that. And
Oh yeah.
PSP. Fuck.
It might have been PSP.
It's
Yeah, I think
PSP.
so.
It is. Oh, it is like
Because it's Spider-Man
Yes, sorry.
1,
Yeah,
2, and 3.
Spider-Man
And
2. I think whatever was that version for the
Yeah.
PSP when that came out was really cool. Just because like it was already cool just swinging around, but being able to do that portably like was really cool.
Trap
sure.
Man earlier said my most memorable movie tie-in game that I played is Spider-Man 2 for PS2. So a lot of Spider-Man love.
For sure.
I love
It
it's,
is
it's truly a different time.
I've talked about this before,
really,
but
really
y'all,
strong.
if you want, it's really cool watching. Like I forgot who does the interview, and I feel like someone had to remind me. They're the guy that like worked on the web slinging in Spider-Man 2. Like someone comes over from Insomniac and like does a talk with him, or someone interview. No one from Insomniac. They just interview him, and he plays the Insomniac game, talking about his interpretation of the swing mechanics, how they made it work. It's cool. It's a really
So
it's
cool.
one of those
So cool.
random documentaries that I
So-
actually got sucked into.
so legendary. Like it's such a weird, like oddly specific thing to have like web slinging's mechanics in video games be such a topic of conversation, because it's like you can only really use it in Spider-Man games, and I feel like you kind of get away with it with like grappling hooks a little bit in like
Yeah.
Just Cause kind of, or like some Batman games, but it's never quite that like momentum based latching on to items in the world that you get from like a good Spider-Man game. And there's been, a good dozen that have thrown their hat in the ring between the Insomniac ones, the ones that we're talking about. There's like Ultimate Spider-Man and the Amazing Spider-Man ones based off of the movies as well, and some random ones like Web of Shadows and Shattered Dimensions in there that all try their hand to differing degrees of success. And it's still the ones that I come back to for being kind of like the pinnacle of each of their times is Spider-Man 2 on the PS2, Xbox, PC, and Marvel's Insomniac Spider-Man on PS4 when it launched. Both absolute bangers. Kayla, if you want to start prepping for some more submissions from chat, I would love to hear them. But on the heels, before we get there, on the heels of the Spider-Man conversation, I took a stroll as Deadpool and Wolverine was coming out last year or the year before. I did a like brief stream series where I played through all of the X-Men Wolverine games leading up to that point, but not like any X-Men or Wolverine games, the ones that were directly based off of the movies that came out. And it's 3 absolute fucking bangers, if you ask me. So the first one was X2 Wolverine's Revenge, which I played on the original Xbox. It's really good, and it covers like Wolverine's story in X-Men 2, but like linearly, because there's some fuckery in that movie, and it only covers his story, which I think is really, really interesting. Then I have what I think is maybe the strangest of all of them. This is a really unique situation of a video game that I love, and I love talking about this game. This, in particular, this is the 360 version, which is different than the PS2 and the Xbox version of X-Men the official game, which uses the artwork and closely ties into the X-Men 3 movie. And it has elements from that movie, but what it does is this is the video game prequel that takes place essentially in between X-Men 2 and X-Men 3, the movies. And it explains why Nightcrawler, for example, is in X-Men 2, but not in X-Men 3. So it's actually kind of required to get the full story out of that third X-Men movie. But it's a cool game. You play as Wolverine, you play as Iceman on like on rails kind of shooter situation. Then you play as Nightcrawler, which is kind of like a little bit like stealthier of an approach to combat. So it's that 3 games in one as well. And then I have the one that a lot of us talk about, and obviously people are comparing a lot these days. We're just a couple weeks away from seeing the gameplay reveal of the new Wolverine game from Insomniac as well. But X-Men Origins Wolverine, based off of the truthfully very bad X-Men movie, X-Men Origins, but this game in particular, the uncaged edition of X-Men Origins Wolverine, is really good. Like a legitimate 9 out of 10 video game, where it's a God of War like for sure, and it doesn't do anything too original, but it's M rated. It is the first time that we saw Wolverine, or like the Hugh Jackman Wolverine, rip somebody in half and splatter blood on the screen, even though he would start doing that in like the subsequent movies that came after it, like the Wolverine and Logan and whatnot. This was the first time that we saw Wolverine uncaged, for lack of a better term, and it is a very cool game that held up really, really well. That is an awesome video game. Kayla, what you got from the chat?
Yeah, I never played any of those, but I kind of want to go back and do that, because now I recently, in the past like 5 years, watched all of the X-Men movies for the first time ever. And I think that would be really interesting. I'll start with the Discord really quick, which if you're not in the Discord, you should join via the pinned chat in the live. But I will read those first. So we have our very own P-Schwag, who couldn't be here today, that has a couple of entries. He said Batman Begins supremacy. I know we kind of talked about superhero ones already, a little bit Batman. Obviously Spider-Man 2, and then Rose says Bug's Life on PS1, which someone mentioned in the chat. I think it was Jackal mentioned in the chat as well, in the live chat. Also a genre we haven't really tapped into, he also mentioned, is The Godfather and Scarface on Game Boy. We also have Coal Mines, who is live in the chat and also submitted in the Discord, who said the Flushed Away game, which is an incredible pull. Jake, did you play that one? I did.
No, but I know it well, and I had forgotten. I had forgotten there was a game for it, and I've forgotten about the movie, but now that I'm remembering it, I'm like picturing the cover, and it's like a literal toilet with like 2 little like scrawny mice getting flushed down it. And I'm like, what a funny concept for a movie, much less a game based on a movie. I simply must play it.
Yes, and he's like a rat, basically. It's really funny. Also, Coal Mines mentions Cars for the GameCube, also a fantastic game. Very, very good. High Score Weekly, who had of course, a highlighted message in the live, as well as a message in the Discord, said Matrix Path of Neo was actually good and canonical additions to the movie and movie scenes filmed specifically for the game. I'm not a knower of this game, but I do enjoy the Matrix.
It's another kind of God of War like. I am more familiar with Enter the Matrix, its predecessor, which was again kind of a side story. You played as a Ghost and Niobe, who were like side characters in the game, but full characters in this, fleshed out with interjected actual like scenes that were shot alongside Matrix Reloaded and Matrix Revolutions, the second two games. Really, really cool shit. And Matrix Path of Neo is even more like well regarded. A late PS2 game. I want to say it came out in like 2005, where everyone was kind of gearing up for the 360 and PS3. A game that has eluded me so far, but we will get to it eventually.
Yes. Other ones from the chat. That was all from the Discord. Other ones from the chat. We had Spoolstring earlier. Welcome in, Spoolstring. Said Terminator and RoboCop seem well represented in game form. Terminator on Sega CD, very cool, and Terminator on GameCube. Recent RoboCop, also good. I didn't know there was a recent RoboCop game. Very interesting.
Cayman would go crazy. Yes,
it's on my wish list. It's like there, and I'm gonna play it because like just the way Cayman talked about and boasted about how much we all slept on it. I was like, okay, I believe you here. I'm gonna play it. So
yeah.
I am not familiar, but I am very interested. Sanford the Gray said the closest recently is Avatar: Frontiers of Pandora.
I picked that up the other night. I also feel like I said this out loud, y'all. I was on the couch. I was like, oh my god, I need to play Forza, but I'm like, oh, the Avatar game's on Game Pass. Let me pick it up. So I started playing it, and like I had to finally like stop, and I'm like, man, I gotta start racing. What's wrong with me? But Audrey's like, why are you playing this? And I was like, I think Cayman told me this was great, and she's like, and I was like, and I think it's supposed to be pretty good. She's like, Cayman said it was good. I don't know about that. I was like, damn, are you saying Cayman don't have great taste? She's just shaking my head right now. I'm pretty sure Cayman told me that the Avatar game was great. Or maybe it was you, Jake. I don't know.
I think Cayman got into it more recently, but I was also into that. I only got like 4 or 6 hours into it probably, but I'm fond of that game generally. It is the Ubisoft open world formula done in the prettiest world that any of the Ubisoft open worlds have ever been made in. I think it's kind of a banger. How far did you get into it, Jerica?
I haven't left the facility. I had to stop. Like I was actually not because I wanted. No, I wanted to keep playing. I was like, what is happening? Why am I getting sucked into this original story here? You know, I can't wait to get outside and run.
Yeah, you should play up through. The game has kind of a long intro. You're in that facility for a half hour, which is a huge fucking miss to start your beautiful
missed
open world game.
I should be running through the woods
right
by
into
now.
there.
I'm like, I was upset
but if you
because
play,
I didn't get to that part.
Yeah, because if you play the entire prologue, though, it's probably like an hour and a half or so until you hit like that Avatar Frontiers of Pandora
Jesus
title
Christ.
card.
Like
but you get out there.
Way too fucking long. James Cameron
having
long. A field day. Loved it. He's like, the
delivers.
prologue, the intro, the tutorial, hour and a half, please.
Yeah, it fucking
like
delivers.
James
I think
Cameron,
you would enjoy
sorry.
it. I'm a big James Cameron fan. In fact, I'm also a big Avatar fan, and I own Avatar, the game, not only for the Wii, but also for the Xbox 360. And the 360 version is really cursed, but the Wii one is even more cursed because if you look at the very bottom here, you'll notice that this is Wii balance board compatible. So if you would like to play Avatar holding a Wii remote and nunchuck and then lean left and right to dodge and shit, then that is the place to do it.
God.
Really bizarre. Really bizarre.
Some last entries wrapping up in the live chat. We had Dude Cool mention Aladdin on Sega Game Gear, which is very rad. We did have my own brother Coleman mention the Speed Racer game, which I'm not familiar with, but I know Speed Racer is a fantastic movie. And I think that's everything. I don't think I missed anyone else. A2 Munther did link in the chat the Tarzan game that we were talking about, which I'm not sure if that was right. Tarzan Jungle Tumble, I think is what it was called.
Oh, cool.
Which is very cute, actually.
Hell yeah.
Yeah,
I've got a couple like
thank you all.
I got a couple big buckets that we still need to fill here for like a couple different categories. Yeah. I feel like we haven't hit 2 of the biggest IPs ever created in the form of Star Wars and Harry Potter. And here's the thing. I feel like those are their own episodes, to be honest. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like we could do, and I think we have, to be honest. I'm pretty sure we've done an hour and a half, or if not more, of Star Wars games. I'm
For
sure we
sure.
all have some experience with different Star Wars games, which are great. And there's obviously a ton on the fucking horizon right now. We have
Yeah.
Star Wars Eclipse from Quantic Dream that appears to be in a perpetual state of flux and development hell. We have Star Wars Eclipse. Nope, that's Star Wars Eclipse is the one I just said. Star Wars Zero Hour, which is from the old Firaxis devs, I believe, that did like XCOM and whatnot.
Zero
You
Company?
have the Zero Company, yep.
Zero Company.
And then you have the two Old Republic games, the KOTOR remake, which again, development hell, and the recently, announced Fate of the Old Republic, which is very cool. Looming Jedi game on its way, the third in the trilogy of the Cal Kestis games. I expect a reveal in the next couple weeks here as we approach Supper Game Fest, maybe at SGF proper or PlayStation State of Play or at the Xbox event or something like that, wherever they decide to show that thing off. It's time, EA. And then last but not least, Galactic Racer, which we should have talked about more last night because that's going to be a big thing over here on Drop In, Drop Out with its DNA from old Criterion devs, how much a lot of us are into Star Wars. There's fun Star Wars stuff on the horizon. Guess who's going to see Mandalorian and Grogu this weekend? Me.
Heck
I'm
yeah.
here.
I think
Star
Sir
Wars in the
Dr.
movies.
JM is actually I think he mentioned earlier he was like on his way to the theater to watch it.
Oh, hell yeah.
Which is very fun.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I think that it's tough because I don't know what it is in my mind, but I do almost have a separate bucket for these in my brain. And maybe it's because while you could consider them movie tie-ins, I feel like both of these genres, Star Wars more than Harry Potter, has become its own entity of games, if that makes sense. Completely separate from the movies, totally independent. Which is actually I still haven't played quite as many Star Wars games of the older editions, but the Jedi series is one of my favorite Star Wars stories, and it has nothing to do with the movies. It's its total own thing. So I do think that's interesting to think about for sure.
Yeah.
Pixelated Soul seeing the movie in 3 hours. Very cool. Very good.
You're right. And even though it all starts with movies, so they could all technically be bucketed into that, there are very few that are just one-to-one. This is based off of the movie that came out. The one that always comes to mind for me, though, is Star Wars Episode 3 Revenge of the Sith, which has the same kind of treatment that Batman Begins got and that some of these other games of that era were getting at that time, where there were actually scenes from the movie baked into it, and it followed the story beat for beat of Star Wars Episode 3. But the cool thing that I always talk about with this is Star Wars Episode 3 was an interesting one because if you know Star Wars, you probably know, spoilers for Star Wars, Darth Vader is Luke's father. All right.
Oh, yeah. It's true.
So even though you're watching the prequels 1, 2, and 3, you kind of know what's going to happen. So I wasn't so worried about spoilers for Episode 3 going into it. The Star Wars Episode 3 movie game came out 3 weeks before the Star Wars Episode 3 movie, and you could just basically watch and enjoy the entire story and then go see the movie, and it followed it beat for beat. So there was a full-on spoiler, a bunch of scenes from the movie that I just watched ahead of time. I felt like I was on the inside track. I felt like I was being rewarded. They made a movie based off my game.
That's
pretty cool.
Interesting to think about, especially at the time. I don't know, maybe I would be kind of frustrated though. Be wow, you spoiled this for me before the movie. But I could also see the opposite way of being wow, I get a little heads up for what's going to go on. I definitely want more. I know we have a lot in the works, but I want more original Star Wars games that follow brand new paths. But also it's always fun to see little Easter eggs of things that you're used to in the games, especially nods to certain things in the movies. So yeah. Star Wars games,
for sure.
Whole other genre. Same with Harry
Star
Potter.
Wars games rule. Same with Harry Potter. Hands in the air, real quick, show of hands on the podcast. Who thinks J.K. Rowling is a piece of shit? Let the record show that everybody has their hands up.
Glad we can get that out of the way.
Make sure the people in the car aren't going to chase me down.
Yeah, for sure.
That's right. One's in the chat if you agree.
Yes.
Sound of my arm being raised.
Yes. There was some
Go
good
ahead,
games though, for sure. The one that comes to mind in particular is the what's the one? I'm imagining it in my head where they're in the train car and the little dementors are coming after you while you're in the train.
You were thinking of the Prisoner of Azkaban game.
Yes, very scary in the game and in the movie.
I'm a big Chamber of Secrets guy is my favorite, because this is like almost straight up. Azkaban is too, but this one really feels like it's like the PS2's Ocarina of Time in a lot of ways, where it just has like this really like light combat fare, Z targeting and exploration that made me feel the same way when I played it. Really, really fun, cool little game. Did you play any other ones?
That's the only one I can remember playing, because like I did like the series a lot as a child, but I don't remember like going out of my way to ask my parents for the games. That's just the really only one that like stands out to me, I think.
Yeah, I had a summer where I was really competitive with a bunch of friends doing multiplayer Quidditch World Cup.
Oh yeah. That's right.
If I recall correctly.
Yeah.
And then, did you guys remember that there was a Quidditch game that came out like 2 years ago?
Yeah.
I didn't. I don't remember seeing that.
I heard it was okay. Not great.
It was like surprisingly deep. Okay, it was called Quidditch Champions. Came out September of 24. I feel like I've blocked that out of my fucking
Sorry,
mind.
it just thundered so loud it got me.
That's awesome.
If you'll lose me, it's like it's a big one. I've been looking on the Doppler, so if I leave, it's not because I'm not interested. The lightning has got me.
If you guys both lose power at the same time, this could be our first ever Jeff Gerstmann show, where it's just a one-man podcast with Jake
He's
twitching.
hoping.
I'll send the rest of my submissions to you. So I'm sure you've played them both.
Hell yeah.
Sirius said that he remembers playing Goblet of Fire on the PSP.
Ooh, good pull. Yep.
I didn't play that one.
And then I also played Hogwarts Legacy, which I stand by the fact that I think is a very good game. And, you know, despite the situation and the controversy surrounding it, obviously was literally the best-selling game that year, I believe. And sold a lot of consoles for people that don't often play games, which I think can be a net positive, depending on how you look at it. Pretty cool. And I also think that low-key, we probably see a Hogwarts Legacy sequel announcement soon, because I think what happened behind the scenes is they were working on DLC for that game and they publicly canceled it and said, we're not doing that. We're putting our resources into a sequel to the Hogwarts Legacy game because of how fucking big it was. And I don't think they need to reinvent the wheel there. They could just pump out, reuse that environment, change up the story, flesh out some of those areas, or let us travel somewhere new and pump out a Hogwarts Legacy 2. It'll be fucking massive. I think we'll probably see that.
Jackal said I enjoy tossing the old quaffle.
We all.
Incredibly
Jerica,
based.
Do you have some on your list that we haven't hit yet?
Mine are, I have a couple of like weird cursed TV show ones, because like for some reason I've played some really weird games and I love great TV. There was one I sent y'all a screenshot and I was like, I want to talk about this game. And Jake, I think you do sort of recognize it. This game's from 2001, so it's old. But I was really into the first 3 seasons of Survivor. I've fallen off, obviously, and then I really only thought about it because of like Jeff Probst like spoiled like they're on season 50. It's like a big thing, and I think he like spoiled something major last night,
He
like
did.
live.
It was
It's like
crazy.
the first time it's ever happened. Like it's really
Yeah.
fucked. Like it's it's crazy. And I'm like, now I want to watch this season of Survivor so I can get spoiled.
It was awesome. You should.
But yeah, I've fallen off. But like I was really into it when it first started, and like me and my family watch it all the time. And of course, I there was a Survivor video game from 2001. There was a couple, and apparently one recently. Because I was just searching for this Survivor game. I thought there would be only one and done. No, a recent one came out. I don't know if that's any good, but we'll see. But this was a game that I just really, I don't know how old I was in 2001, but this game was boring to me, and I just wanted to I looked up a review, 2 reviews actually, because I wanted to know if this game, was I just too dumb? No, I wasn't. This game was incredibly boring, but it's so hilarious because like you can just make, basically you play Survivor, but it's like just like chores on the island. You can either make your own
Wait, I love
Survivor
this.
character, or you can like pick one from the like first couple seasons or something like that. And the character models are so goofy. It's just dated, but it's so funny. And I sent a screenshot to y'all earlier about one of them. Look up this game. Like there's like dialogue, because like I feel like you like Survivor because like, you know, you're creating like pacts with people and like alliances and like tricking people, and the dialogue is just like, Peter, go, you're in charge of finding food for tonight, or like, Tina, you're gonna clean toilets. You get assigned. It's like playing The Sims, but not The Sims. It's the worst version of The Sims. And then occasionally you participate in activities to like win immunity, whatever. And you're just like tapping the one button to like pull the log or whatever. The game's so boring and so shitty, but like, God, I mean, a good Survivor game, there's potential there. I feel like, but apparently one
Yes.
came out in 2023. Have you played that, Jake? I didn't know there was such a thing.
Okay, Jerica, I want you to pull up a new tab right now in Google,
Okay.
Survivor Castaway Island, and then click images and look at like the first dozen images and tell me if anything sticks out to you.
But this is the one that recently came out. Yeah. And I was like, is there a new game?
Yeah. Do you look at all those images that came up? Do you see any interesting ones? The 7th or 8th result should be my
Shut
thumbnail
up.
for my fucking playthrough of
Shut
it.
the fuck
Because
up.
it is still my most viewed VOD ever. Before I even met you guys, I played the Survivor game. The day that it came out, I was fucking pumped up for it. It is so bad, and it put up like 34,000 views, like the first VOD that I did, and it brought a bunch of people into the fucking community. It was like one of my
Yo.
first very big like pop-off videos. That game blows.
That's such a letdown. I was really hoping, like, okay, there's a newer, maybe I can revisit this, and it's what I've always dreamed of with a Survivor game. But knowing that, it sort of blows. But also,
Yeah.
could that ever be a great game? I don't know.
There
Can I
is
just-
a great thing. Kayla, you go first. I'll remember mine. It's important to me.
Oh no. This might be too much of a like pivot, but Jerica unlocked something for me that is like there's a whole other section of games that we missed, which is like reality TV games.
Yo.
'Cause
You haven't
there's
missed them.
more. Okay, perfect.
Jake's
Okay,
ready.
all
He's
right.
locked and loaded.
All right.
He's in it.
What were you going to say though?
There is, and I think this is a drop-in drop-out event that is
Let's
like,
go.
I swear to God, this is an invitational. And hear me out on this. You're going to remember I probably pitched it before, but the best Survivor game that's ever existed is a game called Outlaster on Roblox. And it is a social
Okay.
deduction game where you use live chat, or you can even use voice, where you're broken up into tribes. There is some Robloxiness to it where you can search around and find hidden idols, and the challenges are little like mini games, like almost Mario Party adjacent janky mini
I'm
games.
so down.
But you
I'm sold.
actually go to tribal council, and the people that participate play as an avatar of themselves, and you have to vote people out, and you have to make tribal alliances, and it can stream very well with the right group of people. It is very
This-
fucking cool.
That would be
I
fun.
participated in 3
My-
games before in like 2023, and they were unreal with the right group. Unreal.
This will be the only reason I play Roblox, and because that just seems like my dream game. That's what I've wanted my whole life. I totally forgot about this game until like 5 hours ago, but I have wanted it my whole
Yes.
life. I wanted a better
Mhm.
experience from 2001's Survivor, whatever it was. So this could
Yeah.
fill that cup. Let's do it. I'm so down.
It'll be awesome.
I have to say really quick, I know we're talking about reality TV, but Jerica, Milner just said something in the chat that I wanted to bring up to you. Speaking of island stuff, the best TV tie-in game was the Lost game on 360.
That's my second
you
game.
play that?
I'm so glad he brought it up.
Oh,
That's
oh.
game number 2. It's like Via Mortis or something. Rigor
Lost
Mortis.
via Damus.
Yo, this game was wild. I have 2 copies of it because people, like, my family knew I loved Lost, so like everyone in my family was buying me this video game that was about Lost. The story was not even a tie-in to the story at all. Like, it was like a whole side story. Like, this guy like have some random dude that wasn't even in the TV show has amnesia. Obviously, he fell off a plane or fell out of a plane.
Fell off a plane.
And you're just interacting with characters from the TV show, and it's really boring and weird.
Yeah.
Aw.
I did like talking to John Locke though and trading mangoes for shit. So, but yeah,
Very cool.
interesting game. Yeah, that didn't
I-
land. No pun intended.
adore, you know me, I adore Lost, I adore Watchmen, I adore The Leftovers, I adore anything Damon Lindelof has ever touched. I have never played this Lost game. It's sitting in my pile of things to
Shut
play for a
up.
very long time, but I think it's gonna make for a really, really fun stream. I gotta wait for like a Lost anniversary, like 25 years or 20 years or whatever the next like big landmark one is, and then play that start to finish, because I think I'd have a fucking great time with how much I love that show. On the same note of reality, so I've
Yes.
got a pair of games that I am quite fond of, two of my better streams over the years. Both Wii games, when anything
Bachelor.
could have a fucking game. The Bachelor for the Wii and America's Next Top Model for the Wii. So funny and so cursed. These are both actually very separate video games. There's not much going on. The Bachelor one is a series of mini games, and how you perform in them determines how the dates are going to go. But the moments on the dates when like they go well or when they go poorly are so funny to see people like actually kiss and hug and like have what is supposed to be like a romantic fantasy, but it's so fucking like, you know, it's the Wii, so it's like the graphical power of the PS2. It is very, very strange to watch all play out. But it's a good, like, I streamed that once and it was one night. Whereas America's Next Top Model, I played like 3 or 4 times. And this game has like a open city. You're over there like doing missions and stuff. You're talking to people. There is some of the craziest voiceover, the most inspired voice work ever. And I remember making fun of this game in a short, and one of the voice actors commented on my short and was like, "Hey, I played Rebecca," who I wasn't too harsh on, but so fucking funny because it was like clearly just voice lines that were patched on in, and they said, "Good enough, let it rip." Really funny. Do you guys have any other reality TV ones?
I do. Did either of you play the Wipeout game on Wii?
Mm-mm.
Did you
Yes,
play that one?
at a friend's house. Yes.
That do you know, Jerica? Do you know the show Wipeout,
Yeah.
where they like, yeah?
Yes.
So
I've always
why
wanted to
not-
try participate,
Yeah.
but not now. I get my knee would just fucking die. It'd just explode.
I'm
I feel
back.
like if we talk about like the GameCube, PS2, Xbox 360 era is like the big like movie tie-in era, I feel like the Wii is the big like reality TV show era of like
Makes
console.
sense.
Wipeout was a big one for me. My family loved watching Wipeout for some reason. Like that's something that we really liked
I
to do
loved.
together.
We watched it too. It's really
Yeah.
entertaining.
Yeah, and so we had the Wii game, or I think I rented the Wii game. I think we would like rent it.
Mhm.
Another one that Cirrus mentioned in the chat was Deal or No Deal, which
Oh,
I know
yeah.
is more like game show, but I feel like has like crossover with reality TV, because I think I also played a Wheel of Fortune game. I think.
Yeah.
Played some
There were some
Wheel of
pretty good
Fortune game
Wheel of
on a-
Fortune and Jeopardy games over the years were pretty good. There's a Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, which was fun.
Yeah.
That one, and then Are You Smarter Than a Fifth Grader? I played a game that was based off that. So yeah, those are some of the ones that come to mind. I also remember playing the Bachelor game. And I'm thinking of another like fashion one but maybe I'm getting that mixed up with not a real one. But I feel like I remember some sort of fashion one. Also, fun future stream idea. Do you guys know there's like the somebody may have mentioned this, there's like the Roblox like mod where it's like what's it called, Dress to Impress or something? Have you guys seen that?
Oh,
Yeah.
I have countless hours in Dress to Impress, which I also believe could be a great fucking stream game for drop in, drop out. I love DTI. I have a lifetime VIP membership, I fear, to Dress to Impress so I can walk
Damn
faster
it.
and get more clothing options. I should post, I have screen caps of like every time I've made the podium on a theme for Dress to Impress. And one time we had to do like American icons or something like that, and everybody did like these really like fashionable things, and I did blue suit Hillary Rodham Clinton and came in first place, and it was so fucking good.
One person has asked for it in the chat, so we have to do it. I fear it was Sirius Shard.
Perfect.
But Jerica, have you seen any of this, Jerica? Do you know what this is? Have you seen it?
I have no clue. Like I'm just like
Basically-
imagining what it could be, and I'm like,
Oh, we
Give
have
the
to
pitch,
do this.
Jake. Give the pitch.
Okay,
of what
so
it is.
Dress to Impress is you load into a lobby, you are like a blank slate of like a mannequin person essentially, and you get a theme, and the theme is like spooky graveyard or something like that. Like it's like a Halloween theme, or it could be like Valentine's Day or like girls' night out, whatever the broad theme is. You then get a timer. It's like 5 to 6 minutes, and you have to go do your hair, do your makeup, do your nails, and then pick up like outfits and accessorize and do things that like fit the theme. Then after all of the time counts down, everybody that's in the game piles into the runway, and everyone takes their shot down the runway, and you vote on stars like 1 through 5 how good they fit the theme, and then the winners make the podium.
Okay.
It's awesome.
She said, okay.
I'm down to try.
It's awesome.
Yeah, I think that's all. Honestly, I think I've exhausted my whole list. Like, I feel like we've covered such a wide array.
I am really excited to talk to you guys about probably my favorite of all of these, and it's kind of Dress to Impress pilled in that it is multiplayer, but I brought up the Wikipedia page so I could get it exactly right on how they qualified this game. 1 vs 100 was a massive multiplayer online video game show developed and published by Microsoft Game Studios for Xbox 360, and it's an adaptation of the video game trivia show of the same name. The trivia game show of the same name. Now, listen. 1 vs 100 was a TV show where basically the idea was there would be 101 contestants. One contestant was the one, and the 100 made up the mob. And essentially the one was having a trivia showdown contest to see if they were smarter than this collective of people, and they would win money accordingly. What they did is they brought this experience 1-to-1 over to Xbox Live, and it was a live show where you couldn't just queue up. You had to tune in on Tuesday night at 9 p.m. and you would get loaded into a lobby, and there would be 101 players, and one of those people would get randomly selected as the one, and the rest would participate with live, like, multiple choice questions that were being asked, kind of like Who Wants to Be a Millionaire type of thing.
Yeah.
But the cool part about it was that not only was it a live shared experience that you were playing with your friends or with other randoms, if you were selected to be the one, how you performed would result in a fucking cash prize distributed to your account via Microsoft points. And it ran for 2 seasons, and I played this game every night that I could. It was so much fun. It was so cool. In certain circles, it is still talked about very fondly. People would love an experience like this back, and I think that like it's an untapped market as far as like a date and time game show experience.
I have forgotten about that. God, I can't believe it was real. Like, but you're right.
Yeah.
Like, I just totally blanked from my memory. But like, there was like a mobile game like that too for a minute that everyone was tuning in and playing.
HQ Trivia.
That's it. Like,
Yeah.
you know, and just like, God, it's so cool. That would be so fun. Like, I want more of that. Why did those things go away? Because I feel like they would be so successful, especially with like, I don't know. Now that I'm asking to like give them more money, but like especially something that you can sign up for or pay like to be a part of a season. Like, I think that would be really cool.
Do you guys remember
support
Trivia
it? Because
Crack?
obviously they got to make money, but like that would be so much fun.
Yeah.
Yes, I agree. And yeah, I love Trivia Crack as well. That was a time and place where like I feel like everybody was playing that for at least like a year and a half.
Yeah.
I was saying, I love trivia. You guys know this. I'm constantly like begging everybody in Drop In, Drop Out to be like, quiz me on stuff. But it truthfully, like, it doesn't, like, I love like playing Jeopardy and just like seeing what I can pull out of my weird little mind where like, I can't tell you when like my best friend's birthday is, but I could absolutely tell you the director of every Batman film. Like, I don't know why, but that is how the world is working over here for JT. Jerica, with the exhausted list, Kayla, do you have anything left?
No, that's all I had.
Then it's
I
time
left no stone.
for the JT Rapid section where I have this list of
yes.
games. The weirder they get, I feel like, the further down the pile they went. So I'll just show you. A lot of them I haven't played, but these are some of my pulls of things that I would like to stream because I've bought them for the explicit reason of streaming them. Some of them I have played and will have opinions on, but Pirates of the Caribbean, the game based off the movie for the original Xbox. Jumper, Griffin's Story, based off of the weird Hayden Christensen movie from back in the day.
Love that movie.
I really want to get Wanted, the Angelina Jolie movie game, but I haven't found that one yet. I've got Beowulf, another Angelina Jolie jump off. Do you guys know this movie, Beowulf, this interpretation of the story?
No.
This is the weirdest
No.
movie ever. It was a movie that was shot completely, but then like painted over in bad CGI graphics. Please Google the Beowulf trailer or like the Beowulf Angelina Jolie scene. It's fucking insane. I got American Chopper for the PlayStation 2. And I always love on the back, I'm gonna have to turn it around to read it, but it's got like a really complicated back cover, but the instructions are build it, customize it, show the guys.
Shut up. What if you want to show the girls too?
No, I'm
Don't put
sorry,
that in
this is for
clear.
guys' eyes only.
Okay,
Boys
good to know.
only.
That's right.
Oh.
This one I'm really excited to play. I really know very little about it, but I liked the movie when it came out. This is the Chronicles of Narnia,
Ooh.
Lion, Witch, and the Wardrobe, based off like the 2005 movie. I've got the Alvin and the Chipmunks game for PS2, which is very bizarre. And then I got some really, really weird ones. I played this like not last Christmas, but the Christmas before it, the Polar Express video game.
Cursed.
If you're trying to do like a nice little like Christmas stream at some point, either of you, 2 hours flat to beat this video game. And honestly, pretty fun. Pretty fair amount of whimsy for a pretty fun little video game. Then it gets very, very strange. I have never played this and I don't even know what to expect. This is the Fight Club video game for PS2, which is bizarre that exists, but it's a fighting game based off of Fight Club. Then I have one of the strangest video games that's ever created, because this is a one of one. One of the things that we didn't talk about that I was really excited to I just wanted to like bring up as like an asterisk is there is 2 occasions that I can think of the game based on the movie based on the game. Any knowers? Either of you have an idea of which games I'm talking about? There's only 2. One of them is Street Fighter the movie, which is based off of Street Fighter the game, and it's kind of like Street Fighter gameplay, but like Mortal Kombat graphics, where it was like a man playing Chun-Li, or not a man playing Chun-Li, a man playing Ryu and a woman playing Chun-Li, like an actual actor that is like fighting, and then it's like stop motion graphics. It's very bad. The other one is the 2016 Ratchet and Clank game, is technically based off of the Ratchet and Clank movie.
Which is crazy because I didn't know that, and I was like, oh shit, there's a movie. Oh, I started watching, I was like, oh my god, that's the whole game. I totally missed that there was a whole movie. Like,
yeah.
That was wild.
It is fucking insane. There was supposed to be a movie that came out starring Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson called Spy Hunter: Nowhere to Run. It was supposed to be the 3rd in the rebooted series of games for Spy Hunter. So Spy Hunter 1 comes out for PS2. All you're doing is driving. Spy Hunter 2 comes out. All you're doing is driving and flying and racing boats. And then this game comes out called Spy Hunter: Nowhere to Run, starring Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, which was supposed to be based off of a movie of the same name. However, the movie got canceled in pre-production, and they said, fuck it, make the game anyway. So this is a game based on a movie that does not exist, which is so bizarre. And it has the likeness of The Rock, and it's honestly like a pretty cool game. It's kind of just like a third-person action game. You can shoot, you can beat people up, you can get into your boat and drive around an open area, and then the boat transforms into a car to get you to the next open area. Very, very cool. And then near and dear to my heart, and to the hearts of so many, I have, for an example here, the Fast and Furious Showdown for the Xbox 360, which is very, very cool. And then there's like the Fast and Furious Crossroads, which a lot of people dog on. But the Fast and Furious games in general, I think, are really fun. You guys know I'm a sucker for a racing game. This one in particular does really cool stuff where very rarely are you just racing. Sometimes you play as like a car, and then you take control of Paul Walker, and you have to jump from the car onto the side of like an 18-wheeler and like mantle around the side and hijack the fucking thing. It is really weird. Yeah, next thing you know, you're operating like a harpoon gun on the back of a 4x4. It's a whole situation out there. But those are some of the odd games that I have in my collection that I've either played or I haven't played. One day we'll play them all.
Wow, that was a list. That was a long, like a cool physical list to have. And you inspire me, Jake, to rebuild my physical collection. It's not dead. Physical media is not dead.
No. My physical collection up until about 5 years ago was maybe 24 games. And I have done exactly what you're saying. A lot of these games are games that I either owned back in the day or I never owned and wish that I owned. And I've been selective. I'm not, trying to complete the Xbox 360 library or anything, but putting it back together is really, really cool. It's nice to have those little pieces of physical media from time to time. I believe in some ways I'm still getting everything digital these days, but for the ones that aren't available, that are relics of the past, they're nice to have. Now,
That's
what do I have to do
amazing.
to get you two to commit to a Dress to Impress stream?
Say no more. I'm in. Already
Yeah, I'm down to
wrote it
try.
down.
Like I don't boast to be a fashionista, but it's a strength.
But you're
I
funny,
think
so you'll find some funny things to do.
yes, I think it would be just like a really good one, like open invite. Like I think it would be funny to see what Cog and Josh come up with, like
Yeah.
Heyman for some of these things. Like there'll be a learning curve. The first couple will be really annoying, but generally I think it will be a blast to see what everyone gets once we're a well-oiled machine over there.
Love it.
Hey, that's a fun podcast.
Hell yeah. It sure was.
Jerica and Kayla, thank you guys so much for joining me and having this conversation today. I love an off the rails topic, and guess what? With my prediction at the beginning, I was exactly right. Jerica, all of our little common interests, and Kayla, all those weird games that you love. What a fun conversation between us, and what a great bunch of contributions from our beloved community, whether you were here live in our Twitch chat, or perhaps you were submitting things in our Discord that you could access by going to dropindropoutpod.com and joining up and having the conversation off stream. Why don't you go and find us around the internet at Drop In Drop Out Pod? Why don't you tune into JK Games on Monday or Spotlight Games on Tuesday? I think you'd have a blast. This is the part where we wave at the camera and we say goodbye. Until next week, goodbye.
Bye.